Hello, back for the new year. Welcome to the first AGR of 2022. This is the AGR for game 30 against the Florida Panthers. Final score, Stars win tonight in a very unstars-like game, 6-5 in a shootout. And lots of things to talk about in this game, guys. First off, how you guys doing? Hey, James. Hey, Chris.
Hey, I'm doing great. Lovely.
Yeah.
GG boys.
Yeah, GG boys. And so with this game, this is a 3-game winning streak spanning 23 days. Insane. The Stars, having
That's what we should say. 23-day winning streak. That's much better.
than three-game winning streak, right? Well, anyways, guys, before we get into this, we obviously should mention the obvious and the fact that after the COVID break, pause for the entire NHL, the Stars was just a little bit longer. Everybody else came back on the 28th and started to play. And then the Stars started testing positive and also having players entering COVID protocol. So at the end of the day, I believe every major player on the Stars who has played at least one game for the Stars this season entered COVID protocol. So looking at this game, what were your expectations going into this game? Because, it could have been all over the place if you're a Stars fan.
I expected to lose.
I expected to get killed.
Yeah.
You're looking at the Panthers who scored 24 goals in their last 3 games.
Yeah, that's a
Or
lot.
20 goals in their last 3 games.
And they kept doing it. Like they scored a bunch. Fortunately for us, though, their defense was awful, and then we did the exact same thing. Our defense this is the worst defensive game I think we've played all year, and we won.
Which is to be expected, considering everything that happened. I'm sure we were going to be a step slow. I kind of expected this. I didn't expect a high-scoring game like this. I guess I could have seen it coming since it was the Florida Panthers, but I did not expect the Stars to respond that way, which was kind of nice to score some goals. And we'll get into the whole second line discussion here in a little bit. But one of the big things I did want to talk about, though, is the fact that this is one of the longest stretches during the season where the Stars have had, no games. Most of the time in the past, it's been because of, Olympic breaks and people going over to the Olympics, and it pauses for 2.5 weeks. But this has been the longest break for Stars in their history between games. So what was one of the biggest things out of your takeaway tonight, given all the circumstances? I was just happy that hockey was back. What are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I was pretty much just happy hockey was back too. But as far as the play goes, it took us a while to actually start playing in the game. Like the first 10 minutes, it just looked like we were skating around. Like it didn't even look like we were playing hockey at all.
Yeah, and I think my biggest takeaway for this game in particular is the evolution of the game and how it happened. In the first period, it was obvious we were a step behind. And, the Panthers were in their 6th game after their shutdown and everything. And we were in our first, and it was very obvious that, they were, much, much more on top of their game than we were with their skating and everything. But, somehow the Stars managed to find a way to win this game. And I think that was the most important thing. And it's great because we're going into a section of time where we have 3 games in 4 days right off the bat after 2 weeks off. So this is a great thing, despite the fact that I don't think we deserve to win this game. Honestly, we should not have won this game. And there were lots of different reasons why I would go into this. But what was your biggest takeaway out of tonight's game, James? Anything in particular that jumped out to you?
Nothing in particular besides, we were kind of looking at basically the focus of tonight was, can the second line do the same thing they did against the Wild? So that's kind of
2 weeks apart.
Yeah, 2 weeks apart. It was like, what was that? Are they going to be able to get back to that easily or what? But
yeah, and that's the story of the game, is the guys who we need to score to play well, especially on the road. They did it again tonight, just like they did 2.5 weeks ago. So hopefully that means that that's a legit thing and that those guys are actually getting going, and where we really need it is on the road. It's nice to see it tonight just to validate it again,
right?
But we need it on the road more than anything.
And it's also nice to know that when the Stars score 4 or more goals, they typically win. They're now 10-1 when they score 4 or more goals in a game. So
It's unbelievable that we've lost one.
yeah, I know, right?
Honestly,
I think what that was that the Minnesota Wild game?
I have no idea.
I forget how many goals we scored. I think that was the.
Oh, it
I
might
can't
have been. I think it was 7-4 to
No,
Ace.
it was the Vegas game. The Vegas game, right?
Oh, you're right.
That was the Vegas game, right? When we scored 3 power play goals and lost the game. Okay, anyways, guys, let's just go ahead and get into just the goal summary and just a quick rundown of what happened in each period. In the first period, what was y'all's biggest takeaways out of the first period before we talk about the goals?
We got lucky.
That is 100% what I would say.
There was no reason it should have been 1-1, but I was very happy it was.
Yeah, the thing I was watching with Dad and Cooper and Travis. The thing I said is that the Panthers are going to be very upset next period because they had double our shots on goal and it was 1-1 going into the second. So
I would love to see Owen Newkirk's quality scoring chances in that first period because I'm sure they double, maybe even tripled us up.
Nope. On natural stat trick, we got 10 scoring chances. Nope. You missed it. 6 scoring chances for us, and then 10 against.
In the first period?
In the first period, yeah.
Really? Okay. So it was
almost
better than
double.
I expected. Still, that's way better than I expected.
Not super high, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, throughout the period, it was, I mean, we already kind of talked about it. It was real obvious that the Stars were way behind skating-wise. It was obvious there was some rust in their game. And, Alexander Barkov gets us started off with a goal from Jonathan Huberdeau and Aaron Ekblad. It was a power play goal, so it's to be expected. Stars are down 1-0 real early in the game.
Yeah, and the penalty kill sucked there.
Mm-hmm.
Like they talked about it on the broadcast. We gave up the one shot that you're not allowed to give up on the power play,
and they did that several times tonight too.
Yeah.
Not just on that power play, but. The game would continue on, and then Michael Raffel gets a really, really beautiful tip from John Kleinberg and Roddick Foxa. That's his 4th of the year. And, he's, like I said, he's taking the place of Jason Dickinson for me. He's one of my favorite Dallas Stars just with the way he does stuff. And before the goal started going in, he was one of the more noticeable players for me. What did y'all think of that goal tonight?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't score very often, but when he does... Sheesh. Yeah, they are nice, dude. Most of the past 2, I think, have been good deflections like that, kind of like in the highish slot. So very nice deflection. That was sweet.
And one of the other things coming out of this first period is the play of Braden Holtby. He was, bar none, the best player for the Dallas Stars in that first period. And there is no way that if you look at the stats and you look at the goals for this first period, that you could look at it and say, this was an even game. If you actually watch the period, you'd be like, holy crap, we're lucky. The Stars are lucky that it's tied 1-1. And, that made me feel good in the fact that, it's been 2 weeks. We're playing a really good team. It's one of the best teams in the NHL. And we're tied after the first period and in a period where we got outplayed.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, after the first period, you feel like maybe they can get their act together after not playing for so long, and they did that on offense.
So, anyways, going into the first intermission, it is tied 1-1 by a goal from Alexander Barkov for the Florida Panthers, and then Raffel for the Stars. And going into the second period, nothing but high hopes. Maybe we can pull away with this game. Maybe I was still expecting us to lose at this point, but then right into the first 18 seconds of the period, Alexander Barkov on shorthanded gets another goal from Aaron Ekblad and Anton Lundell, not Lindell, but Lundell. And Miro Heiskanen got beat on that goal.
Yeah. That's really all there is to say about it. Like it was an amazing play by Barkov. He stick handled around everyone. It was a good shot. That's what I thought on it.
But also you gotta give some of that on Holtby too, though. What's he doing? That's kind of a real lazy poke check, leg stick out, whatever he did, and then left him a yawning cage. Like that was pretty soft play.
I still think it's mostly on Miro there because I guess mostly because you don't see that very often. And again, this is probably back to the whole rust thing. The Stars still kind of had some rust, and they got better as the game went along. And Miro got a lot better as the game went along. But that was one play where it was obvious to see that the Stars were behind the Panthers in that regard.
Yeah,
so
it was very, very icky.
Very icky. Agreed. The game would continue on, and about a minute and a half later, Dennis Gurianov gets a goal from Jamie Benn and Mira Heiskanen. It was really Jamie Benn's goal. It probably shouldn't have even gone in, but who cares? It's 2-2, and Dennis Gurianov is able to put it in the back end of the net with like 6 inches from the goal line.
Well, it was from a good power play with lots of sustained pressure.
That is true.
I mean, they were just crashing the net, doing what they had to do. I mean, I thought it was a good, scrappy power play goal.
Yeah, Ryan kind of discredits a little bit of Guryanov's work down in the bottom, saying that it's Ben's. Dude. That would have been knocked out of the way had Gurry not been there. So I'm giving that one all the way to Gurry.
Continues on in the second period. Patrick Hornquist gets his 7th of the year from Gustav Forsling and Radek Gudas. Radek Gudas had a really bad game for the Florida Panthers. But at that point, he gets an assist, and it puts Florida back up for the third time in the game by 1 goal, and it's 3-2 Florida with about 4 minutes into the second period.
Yeah. Not good. I mean, I think it was I think it was a pretty soft goal again, given up by Holtby. I mean,
I don't think so.
I honestly thought the puck went through his body. I mean,
it was a tip. It was a good tip, and it was just over his pad.
If he's positioned correctly, it doesn't go in. That's all it is. I mean, he's got to close himself up, make himself big, whatever. I don't know. If Andre was in that same position, it doesn't go in.
Yeah, but that kind of goes back to like our whole point that when Holtby's in net, they're gonna go for deflections in front of the net.
Yep.
That's just how it works.
However,
I'll blame him for it.
Yeah, I won't blame him. I won't blame him for
it.
The shot itself from Forsling was not a good shot, but I think the deflection by Hornquist was a good goal. So that's what I think. But doesn't matter what I think. Anyways, Stars would tie it about 10 minutes later from Jason Robertson. He gets his 11th of the year from Klingberg and Pavelski. I mean, there's not much to say about that goal either. It was kind of another lucky goal for the Stars. And it was go ahead.
It's a lucky bounce, but Robertson had a great offensive night all night long. Yeah. So it was fully deserved. He was applying so much pressure just individually that he deserved something like that to go in. So, and it was from a great shift as well, too. So, and if it wasn't deflected by the defenseman, then Hintz would have deflected it.
Or Pavelski.
They were both there.
Yeah.
But it was a great shot selection and lots of good traffic in front.
Just something I wanted to point out. This was the second goal that we won right off of a faceoff. So we got 2 goals from faceoffs tonight, which was really great.
And I mean, it always goes back to say, if you don't have any kind of play or anything like that, just throw it at the net. You never know what could happen. And in that case, Robertson got a favorable bounce and it went in. So, and that's exactly what the Stars needed. And that put the Stars up, or it's tied the game again for the third time, 3-3. And then obviously feeling a lot of momentum, and they threw that second line out there. And that second line was, as we've already talked about tonight, been really good. And it was an absolutely amazing pass. Great goal by Tyler Seguin. He gets his 9th of the year. That's 2 games in a row, spanned by 2.5 weeks, where he gets a Tyler Seguin-esque goal, not just a bounce off the butt or whatever. And at that point, I was really excited. I was feeling the momentum. I'm like, okay, it is 4-3. And that was like the first time I felt like, okay, we could have a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I punched the crap out of my cat. It was great. It was so exciting.
Yeah, this goal had bigger implication for me. With that goal, it kind of felt that Seguin kind of has a lot of his mojo back with that one, because that's his second goal in back-to-back games that actually goes off his stick and in the net. So,
and that second line for the Stars was absolutely excellent tonight, whether it was on the power play or whether it was 5-on-5. And we saw that multiple times tonight that they were able to provide offense in a way that we haven't had most of the season for the Stars. So hopefully this trio keeps it up, because each one of them showed up on the score sheet tonight.
And we've talked about it already, but the the way that we're going to get consistent, which we haven't really been inconsistent. We've been good on the road. We've been good at home and bad on the road. That's pretty consistent. But the way to get good on the road again is to get the depth scoring. We talked about we're getting shut down on the road because our top line, which is the only line that's been scoring recently, can get the checking line put out against them every time they go on the ice because the home team has the last change. So if you have 2 good lines going, checking line can't play against both of those lines. So if we get that second line going, we can maybe start winning some road games finally, and that will make our record look more consistent.
Well, and how about Dennis Garyanov all of a sudden becoming a disher of pucks?
Yeah.
He's, everyone thinks of him as a sniper, and all of a sudden he's getting all these assists. But
Dude, I was begging him to shoot more all night long. There's so many chances for he played great. He was really good offensively. His feet were moving so fast. He was skating all over the place. But I was just begging him to shoot so many times tonight. Like, he's got to be more selfish with the puck because you're right. He's a goal
truly
scorer.
A sniper. He's truly
a goal
sniper.
Scorer. And he should keep doing that. But, I mean, he did great tonight with the assists. So we'll take it.
And it's funny that you say that because the Dallas Stars really legitimately just tweeted a Guri good night. So funny that lined up that way.
Yeah, and Guri on the post-game press conference, they asked him, what did you change that has caused your recent success? And he
played with the 2 guys that he's on the wing with.
No. He had a really eloquent statement. He said, I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Hey, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I don't know
that's
what
the
I'm
problem.
doing.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Okay,
he has no idea.
Then just keep going and not knowing what you're doing, and maybe it'll work out for you.
To me, what it looks
I don't
like
know.
He's been doing is that he really is skating a whole lot faster than he was at the beginning of the season. Like
that's what I think it is.
Yeah, and he beat out icing earlier in the game to get offensive pressure in the zone, and we'll see that'll come in later as well with the last goal that we scored. But he really just looks way faster.
Well, anyways, so riding that high, Stars are up for the first time in the game. They've been trailing most of the time or tied. Stars are up 4-3 for the first time. And then it looks like, going into the second intermission that the Stars are going to be able to have a 1-goal lead. But Mackenzie Weegar says otherwise. And it's his second goal of the year from Luustanainen, try and say that 5 times fast, and Hornquist. And I don't know how I feel about that goal. Was that a goal that was on Holtby, or he just literally couldn't see it, or was it a good shot? Was it a lucky shot? What do y'all think? Because I couldn't put my finger on it. How I felt about that.
I mean, I thought all 3 of these goals weren't great goals, personally, and part of that is due to Holtby just being smaller, I think. And I don't like his positioning as much. Yeah, tiny guy.
This is stupid.
He's an ant out there. Anyway, the biggest problem was just the turnovers. There were so many turnovers in the second period. So, yeah, we could blame Holtby a little bit and say, he should have had that one. But the turnover sucked. I mean, the defense was awful. The exits were terrible. That's what it was.
Particularly just exiting our own zone tonight.
Yeah, it was impossible.
Right. And just pulling a comment up from Brandon on YouTube there. He said, this game felt like both defenses were out of whack tonight, or is that just me? No, it's not just you, man. I think everybody acknowledged
that was the big thing on both teams. It was just turnovers all over the place.
But the Panthers defense was how it always was.
Right, that is true. Well, I mean, it's funny that you say that because that legitimately is how they play, and they outscore their problems. Right, and with the Stars tonight, it's just the fact that they're a step behind. They haven't played in over 2 weeks, and they're not up to game shape. In a way, it was a lot of fun to watch this kind of game. We don't normally see this kind of game.
Fun. It was great.
So I loved it. Even if we had lost the game, I would have enjoyed this game so much. But anyways.
Too emotionally invested, James.
I was very emotionally invested in this game.
That's why, every once in a while, I have to go and watch just any other team play just on a random night just because it makes me feel better because I like to watch hockey. And it's so much more fun to watch hockey when you're not as emotionally invested in it.
Yes.
So, anyways, going into the second intermission, tied 4-4, this really felt like, again, even though that we did not have the momentum on our side, that this was still a game that we could possibly steal and or maybe even get a point out of in a game that we probably didn't deserve to, or weren't expected to even get close just because of all the circumstances of COVID and all this other stuff that was going on. But anyways, thank you, Mr. Sergei Bobrovsky. If you are a goaltender, tend the goal. He turns the puck over. Dennis Gurianov gets it. He dishes it out again to Jamie Benn. Jamie Benn puts it in the back of the net for his 9th of the year. Stars are up 5-4, and at that point, I just about flipped out.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier with Guri's speed. Bobrovsky sees Guri speeding down the ice. He knows he's going to win the puck, so he comes out to play it. Honestly, it's not that bad of an idea because it happened earlier in the game and Guri got it. But he just goaltenders don't know how to play with the puck apparently.
Yeah, it was a bad play by Bobrovsky, no question about it. But Guri definitely forced it, and then once he got the puck, he made a great play to get it out to Jamie to score the puck. So yeah, it was a mistake, but it was also a good play by Guri. So,
and cool moment of the night. Our tweet where I put, if you're a goaltender, tend the goal, was quote tweeted by Steve Dangle himself. So that was just kind of cool anyways. But going into the rest of that period, you could see the Stars were starting to play more of their game in that third period. You were noticing a little bit more forward checking, just like you were seeing some of the forward checking from the Florida Panthers. They were answering that a little bit more. They were a little bit more physical. Their defense was a little bit better. It wasn't great, but it was good enough, and it was better. And it was really nice to see.
And then the Panthers pulled their goalie.
And then the Panthers pulled the goalie, and we can't win a face-off in our own zone to save our freaking life, even though we were at that point over 60% winning face-offs.
And it's not even just that. It's just every time it's 6-on-5, whether we have whether we're 6-on-5 or the other team has the 6-on-5, we're terrible. We are the worst 6-on-5 team in the NHL, without a doubt in my mind. I mean, I think, honestly, Arizona would beat us because
that's bad.
It is terrible.
That's bad.
Because I fully expected us to get scored on once they pulled the goalie. Yep. They pulled the goalie, and I was like, okay, it's going to be a fun overtime. So,
yeah, we were all talking about it, right before we got on screen here, that the fact
the first thing that was said was, did y'all expect them to score? Did y'all not expect them to score another goal?
Yeah, and we all expected them to score another goal. We were all like,
it felt very obvious. I was given a glimmer of hope whenever Holtby made that save. Goodness.
Oh,
and then it was immediately dashed.
I know. And nobody's going to remember that just because of the fact that a goal went in. And that's really sad because that was an amazing save.
Yeah. And I'll be the first to get to the real negative Nancy here, but the coaches have to do something about the 6-on-5. It is awful. All season long, it's been awful. And something's got to change with it. I mean, it's going to end up costing us something big if we go into big games with not being able to do it at all. Like, it doesn't even, it's not like it's bad. It's like we don't know what we're doing is what it looks like. It looks like it's
I think you can.
No idea.
I agree with you. I think you can give them a pass for today because of the fact they haven't played in 2.5 weeks.
I would.
But I think the pass does not
every
exist.
Single time this way.
That pass does not exist.
Time it's looked the exact same. So,
and again, I'm not going to disagree with you. And I think the answer to it is just a lack of aggressiveness. I think is
just practice it.
I mean, it's practice, but the thing that bothers me is that they seem to be waiting around for the other team to do something, and that allows the team to do whatever the heck they want. So I really think that the word of the day for 6-on-5 is aggressiveness. Show a little bit of aggressiveness. All you have to do is take the puck and then just take a few shots, 200 feet the other direction. We're not going to get every single one. I know that.
And win big faceoffs.
And win big faceoffs, which we normally do. We didn't in the last 2 minutes or in overtime, but whatever. We still won the game.
We won the game. It's
so anyway, that goal.
James.
Okay, my bad.
Anyways, that goal is from Jonathan Huberdeau, his 12th of the year, from Ekblad and Barkov. So it's all the big guys for Florida on the score sheet tonight. Now, here's a surprising twist in tonight's game. If I remember correctly, after going through all the goals, how many of you would have believed that there would be 10 goals in the game and not one of them would have Robe Hence's name on it. Not one of them on the score sheet at all. He's not once on the score sheet tonight, which could be seen as a negative thing or a positive thing. Negative thing, our best offensive weapon is not producing like we hope he could. But the positive thing is that the fact that we scored 5 goals and he's not one of the 5, so we're getting secondary scoring like we've talked about.
And it wasn't like he wasn't getting his chances. He still had 2 good breakaway chances with great passes on them.
Dude, we saw his speed tonight.
Yeah, it was awesome to see him do that. But I mean, if we can score that many goals without him, we're gonna win that many more games. So
yeah, he still played well. His line still scored. Not an issue.
Right. I agree. And then we go into because of that goal, the Stars go into overtime for I believe the 6th time this season, and they're 4-1 in overtime when that happens. So they've won 4 times, lost once, and that was one of the funnest overtimes I think I've ever watched, whether it be Stars hockey or any hockey. This season it was scary. It was very scary, but it was so much fun to watch. And I really thought that when Barkov got his opportunity to put that third goal in, I was like, okay, that's it. We're done.
Like, he literally
good game, guys.
Storybooked into it.
Right, so. Exactly. And then and then Holtby said no, he got enough of it, or Barkov missed it, or something like that.
No, he got a blocker on it. He went all the way across and made a blocker save. It was sweet. So, but yeah, just go watch the overtime, and I'll say it again: 3-on-3 overtime is the greatest invention since sliced bread. It's fantastic. It is so much more fun than 4-on-4. I remember 4-on-4 being so boring. It sucked.
Yeah,
this is so much better. It's great.
Yep, and they need to keep it this way for a while. So, anyways, nothing in overtime happens. There's lots of chances both ways. Obviously, we mentioned the Barkov chance on Holtby, but who was it? Was it Tyler Sagan? No, Jamie Benn had the last second opportunity to put it. No, Klingberg. Excuse me, Klingberg had it. Sorry, like I said, I couldn't remember. Klingberg had the last opportunity, and he hits the outside of the post. And you know what? We get 1 post tonight, but the Panthers hit 3. So, that's retribution for that.
It's because the Panthers are so bad.
Yes, they're totally
bad.
Are
you kidding me?
Can't even get the
net. Gee, that sounds really familiar. Okay. Anyways, right. James, you want to bring up your stat again?
No.
Yeah.
No, bad stat.
Bad stat. Okay. Anyways, it goes into a shootout. Pavelski and Robertson score for the Stars. Both goals are 5-hole goals. Huberdeau and Lundell for the Panthers. One misses. The other is a brilliant save by Holtby, who did not bite on what Huberdeau was trying to do. And the Stars win the shootout. They get the 2 points. It was 6-5. It's a game we probably didn't deserve to win, but guys, it's a game we win.
I don't buy or didn't deserve to win. I think we deserve to win. I think our defense sucked. That is completely and totally true. The Florida defense sucked too. So, and our offense was just as good as Florida's. It really was. I mean, I'm looking at
weird.
Crazy.
That's weird.
On Natural Stat Trick, you see the thing that we like to look at a lot is the scoring chances. Scoring chances for the Stars, 18. Scoring chances against the Stars, 19. I mean, it's neck and neck there. It's pretty much equal. I thought we matched Florida. Okay, I'm not going to say we played good. We matched Florida, and we beat them. It's good to see us score points because, of course, that's the thing we suck at. We need to do it. And overall, it's good to be back in hockey. It's good to get the win. We need the win. We need points. And it's good to score more. Scoring more is always good. We will always be happy with it. Screw defense. Score more, please.
Screw defense.
Just one thing I wanted to point out. Florida now has 29 goals in their last 5 games.
That's insane. That's almost 6 goals a game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And they lost this one.
They lost. They scored 5 goals and lost. That's bad.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out tonight is all the players that had multi-point nights tonight, and it was the guys that you want to see more out of. And the three guys that I'm mentioning, John Klingberg, Jamie Benn, and Dennis Gurianov. So if those three guys can continue to do what they did tonight and what we saw that second line do the past 3-4-ish games, however long they've been together, I feel really good about our chances if that hinge line continues.
Road games.
Yeah.
That's the goal right now. Figure out how to win on the road. This game is a perfect example of how to do it.
And we were at home.
Yeah. So, and another interesting thing tonight as well, in the fact that it looks like that Harley is in the top 6 for a decent amount of time now. This is his 4th or 5th game in a row. And Bonus actually scratched 2 veterans in favor of the young Thomas Harley. So both Sekera and Hanley are scratched. So could that be something that Harley is doing well? Or maybe it's just the fact that, they expected more offense tonight, so he wanted another offensive defenseman in the back. What do y'all think?
I have no idea, because they play him, but then they don't play him. I mean, he only had 10 minutes of ice time.
Well,
and that's more than usual. Normally he gets like 8. Like, what's the point? Like, Sekera always plays at least 12.
Yeah,
I don't know what the point is.
Tonight was kind of hard for him. It looked like he had a really rough night, which was normally I think he does fine, but he looked really bad off in the first period. I think he played 5 minutes in the first period, so half of his game time was all in the first. So,
yeah, but I don't get it. Like, let's just play Sek.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys on that one. A couple more things I wanted to pull out. Even though Klingberg did have a 2-assist night tonight, on the defensive side, I was a little frustrated with him and the fact that he had there's at least 3 turnovers I can think of off the top of my head, and I know one of them for sure led to a goal. So I would love to see Klingberg, be a little bit smarter with the puck defensively. But again, he made up for it in the fact that he had 2 assists tonight, and he was a part of the offense the other way. What did y'all think about Klingberg tonight?
I don't think he had one that led to a goal, because he finished with a +2. I mean, if you want to talk about someone who had a rough night on defense, it's Heiskanen. I mean, he had a point,
that's
and
also
he
true
finishes
as well.
-2 on the night. So he's on the ice for 3 goals. I mean, it looked rough for him all around. He couldn't handle the puck. He couldn't skate through the neutral zone really at all. I mean, he had that one-timer shot that was pretty good. But, man, I don't know what it was, but he just seemed off. He also played 26 minutes, though. So,
and after not playing a game for 2.5 weeks, and we got to keep putting this in perspective. These guys haven't played in 2.5 weeks, and the rest of the NHL has continued on for about a week now. So the fact that that's happened is remarkable. That the Stars were able to win tonight, even if it was a shootout, and get that second point.
And maybe the thing is that we're finally coming out of our honeymoon phase with Heiskanen. Like the first couple seasons, we're just like, oh man, this guy's amazing. He doesn't do anything wrong. I think I might finally be like starting to see when he does mistakes instead of just blocking him in my brain.
When you get paid $8+ million, that tends to happen more.
That might make people more critical.
Yeah. Well, anyways, to throw some stats at you guys. Face-off percentage tonight was good for the Stars, other than the last 2 minutes in the third and in overtime. 60% for the Stars, 40% for the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, and it leads directly to 2 goals, like James talked about, which is super important.
Right. And then on the power play tonight, 1 for 3 for both teams. So the Stars do allow a power play goal, which was the first one, which, again, okay, whatever. It was the first game back. But they did shut down the other 2 power plays, and the other 2 power plays did look better on our penalty kill. And then our power play looked decent tonight. It didn't look great, but it looked decent, and we did get a goal tonight. Hits for the Stars were 23 to 18 for the Florida Panthers. Block shots dead even at 15. Giveaways 14 to 13 in favor of Florida. Takeaways for the Stars tonight. I don't know if this was like how this stat was taken, but for takeaways for the Stars, it was 11 to 3, which I don't really see but you know,
Terrible
whatever.
stats. Giveaways and
Whatever.
takeaways are
Yeah. Maybe
worthless.
maybe we need to look more specifically at what takeaways are, but whatever.
That's the issue. Giveaways and takeaways are different for every single scorekeeper.
Right.
It's a
Yep,
useless
so-
stat.
Anyway, shots on goals for tonight, guys. 19-10 in favor of the Florida Panthers in the first, 20-14 in favor of the Stars in the second. So the Stars really feeling better about their game in the second period. And then in the third, Stars only get 2 shots, and one of those goes in from the Bobrovsky turnover. 9 for the Florida Panthers. In OT, it's all Stars. Stars get 4 shots. The Panthers get none, even though the Panthers did look like they had their opportunities. And it was a final shot count tonight, 42-36 in favor of the Florida Panthers. So great game overall tonight, guys. What's your biggest takeaway from this game going into the weekend where we're going to see 2 weird afternoon games for the Stars back to back?
I hate afternoon games.
Well, and not just that. It's not even really the afternoon. It's like 30 minutes into the afternoon. It's at 12:30.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's almost morning.
Actually, I think they changed the time. It's saying 1 o'clock on the NHL app now. So
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yeah, they changed it.
Either way, it's a very early game on Saturday, which I hate early games, but whatever. All right, guys. Anything else we need to talk about? I think we hit everything.
Offense good, defense bad. Fix defense, keep offense. Go Stars.
Holt be good or Holt be bad?
Holt be okay.
Holt be
Staying
okay.
here for now.
Now, I think Holt be good. He's the only reason we won this game. Because if in that first period, if they had scored more goals, we would have been screwed.
The first,
That's
the third, and overtime, he was outstanding. And the shootout. We'll give him the shootout too. The second period, oof. I don't know, man.
All right. So, can we expect to see Ottinger in one of these games?
Yes.
Surely.
Maybe both.
Surely, right? Maybe
we'll
both.
see.
Okay. All right, guys. Once again, this is Starcastic Remarks. Thank you guys for listening in. Something I always, it's been a while since we've done this too, so I forgot to do this at the beginning. But please make sure you go and use the promo code THPN on the DraftKings app. They are our sponsor for our show, also for the entire Hockey Podcast Network. We thank them for their support. Please go and use that promo code once again, THPN, and you get a special offer from them. And that lets them know that we're the ones that sent you, and we get a little bit out of that. So thank you for doing that. We will be back with you guys again on Saturday and again on Sunday. And anything else you guys want to say?
GG boys.
GG boys. Thank you guys. You guys have a fantastic evening, morning, whenever you listen to this. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Good night.